Hi investors, in this video we're gonna have a look at the latest news on Idex stock, and some of this stuff, guys, it's incredibly bullish, and you must know if you are an investor in Idex like myself, or if you're looking at buying the stock for the first time. So let's dive straight into it. And this is the first bit, and guys, it's gonna blow your mind. Silk FEW hires ex-Ferrari CEO Felisa as special advisor. Now, for those who are not familiar with this Silk EV thing, this is basically an investment of Idex. They have 20% stake in this EV startup that is based in Italy. This Silk EV is not just on its own, it's also been owned by FAW, and this is a Chinese company that also makes EVs and other kinds of vehicles. Now, this is then big news to have such an important person from Ferrari to join this startup. And by the way, I make video updates on Idex when any news on this company comes out, because I'm an investor in it, and so that you're always up to date. But let's get back to the news, because it's very important for you to know the detail. Now, the partnership will build electrified hypercars in China and Italy. And this is a model of the kind of cars we should be looking at. This is beautiful. This is just beautiful. I cannot really say anything else about it. And here is the kicker, guys. This is very important. These cars will be produced in China and in Italy. And Felisa, the guy from Ferrari, will be involved in setting global strategy for the company and will provide oversight on all elements of execution of the company's business plan. Now, these cars will be built and sold under the Honky brand. And this is actually a big deal, because this is a historic brand that has got a lot of history. But let's have a look at some data from this company. Honky has enjoyed rapid growth since its reboot in 2018 as China's premier luxury car brand. In 2020, it registered more than 200,000 sales from its lineup of sedans and SUVs. And so 200,000 vehicles in 2020, that is insane, even compared to companies like NIO, Xpeng, and other Chinese brands. But it's not over yet. There is a lot of news we have to go through, and it's very important for you to pay attention, because this is incredibly important for Idex. Now, the next thing we need to look at is the institutional ownership and bias for Idex. And so if we scroll down, we see that the latest purchase, but not just the latest one, the latest big purchase came from Goldman Sachs. And we're talking about the beauty of 182,000 shares bought just last week. And guys, this is incredibly bullish, because Goldman Sachs is one of the biggest banks worldwide, not just in the US. This is a massive bank. And to have Goldman Sachs actually buying Idex among all the stocks they can possibly have, this is incredibly good, and actually the sign that this stock is not gonna just go to waste. And I know what you're saying, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, but the stock has been tanking over and over and is been going down quite steadily. But what is happening is that a lot of banks and a lot of players have been scooping up cheap shares of many companies, and gladly I'm happy to say that Idex is one of the companies that have been picked, for example, by Goldman Sachs. But Idex is not just EVs. There are a lot of other companies that are owned by Idex and that are not EV related. Blockchain, marketing, you name it. And there is some news that came out recently on one company that is not EV related, but that needs to be looked at because it's part of Idex, obviously. And this is the news. Ideanomics has entered into a stock purchase agreement with FNL Technologies. Now, recently, they actually finalized and agreed what the trade-off will be. Idex will invest $2.8 million in cash into FNL and then sell the 100% of Grapevine Logic to FNL. In all of this, Ideanomics received 633,000 shares of common stock for this company at a subscription price of $8, and that is basically approximately, let's say, 20% ownership of FNL. Now, this is actually very, I would say, nuanced. I'm not 100% happy with this decision. Obviously, I'm not the CEO, but I do not see the relevance of this move. Like, we had 100% ownership of Grapevine, and now we get 20% stake of this other marketing stroke social media company. I don't quite see how that fits inside all the Idex multiverse or universe, call it as you may. You just feel like it's a bit disconnected from the overall strategy. Now, the CEO hasn't released any statement on this. I mean, the statement he's given us was a bit wishy-washy, like not very clear. It wasn't quite straight to the point. He said that this was a great purchase for Idex. Obviously, there was something behind that we cannot really understand at this stage, but really I wanted to have a better understanding because we just gave away Grapevine, which wasn't having a lot of revenues, but what's really concerning is the $2.8 million that we paid for this stake in this other company. So at least I really wanted to understand what this is about. But yeah, that's my opinion. Let me know in the comment section what you think. And so let's have a look at what is happening in the market and understand why the stock has been suffering so far and what is going to happen from now onwards, obviously. First of all, this is the short volume ratio for Idex, and as you can see, has been going down in the last few days, and it's much lower compared to other days. For example, this was the end of April. For example, this was the middle of April when it was very high and it pressured the stock down, but it's now much lower. And so the stock is getting a pass from a short point of view, which is actually very positive. But overall, it's not just the shorts that we need to have a look at. It's about institutional investors and what they're planning to do based on their strategy. And in terms of institutional investors, we can't know what they're doing. I mean, we will be able to have a look at it in the future, but definitely not today because they file in their purchases at the end of the quarter. And so in that moment, I will make a video update so that you understand where the market is going based on the big market makers. But the question is, what about people like us, normal investors with small pockets? And to understand what the mood is, we're gonna have a look at tip ranks. And again, by scrolling down, we see that the investor sentiment is very positive still, even if the stock has been going down. And so that calls for the question, is it a good time to buy Idex stock or not? Let's have a look at the chart. Now, this is gonna be the quickest technical analysis you can possibly see. Now, first of all, there is this support, and then we had the usual, I would say usual resistance up here because it's been pressuring down most of the stocks. And all stocks, mostly tech stocks, are in this kind of position, like we are bouncing up and down, and we don't know where we are going. I would say that overall, it's not just a matter of where Idex is going, but it's gonna be the overall market to dictate. And so I think Idex is a long-term hold. At the moment, I'm holding, potentially buying more if I go below my average price. But one thing is certain, I will make video updates on Idex when any news on these stocks comes out so that you're always up to date. And if you want to know more news about Idex, watch this video. The video on the screen right now are very in-depth news on Idex. So click on the video.